was so good to hear from you that you wanted to see something different because I wanted to create something different. And I had sent an email out this week to artists as well, talking about this whole blank canvas concept, where for me, it's literally where you take a blank canvas that you haven't done any artwork or anything. And not that I'm a painter at all, right? It actually works in a different way, but then you put it up on the wall, and every time that you walk past it, you see this blank canvas and you go, if I could put anything on that canvas, what would I want to put there? And for me, what happens is it actually starts firing my brain off in all sorts of different directions. And video and here on this channel was one of the places that I wanted to start with as well. So I'm back in the studio, aka my garage, where it all began. And funnily enough, my partner sent me a video today, and it was literally showing where Google started, Amazon started, Facebook started, and it's just these pictures of garages. So I feel like I'm amongst good company when it comes to how it started. Now, what we're going to be talking about today, because it was something that I sounded out with you on the last video, and there was a great response to it, but which is about confidence as an artisan. And I've got a few points that I want to go through, but as I said, I am going to be making and creating as we go. I'm wearing one of the tops that I made actually earlier this year. Did actually start off as a dress. And it was just something about it being a little bit tenty, which I didn't love. And it's still not exactly the right fit. If you saw my live this morning, it's definitely a wee bit lower cut than I imagined, but it's kind of cute. It's got sort of like a long hem, and you can't see up close, but it's actually a raw hem that I've just stitched on top as well, which is really cute. But I'm going to start working on recreating this dress, which I love. It's a dress that I made before Christmas. Beautiful long length dress, classic. It's got the placket front, but instead of having actual buttons, don't you love it? I'm sure you can relate, whether you can see it, but it's just stitching to hold it in place. I don't have a buttonhole there, and I'm really particular about if I do have something like that, then it fits perfectly. So this is a quick way that I do it, but I do have the pattern and everything. Like you can see, this is the pattern that I've created. So I'm just going to double check my measurements that I've got. And then I've got this beautiful, like soft green linen, which I'm going to make a version of that dress. But like, let's jump into confidence as an artisan, because the conversation started because this week I was having a serious moment of doubting my abilities and not feeling good enough, and really doubting whether I was the right person to be leading, Madeit, which is the future of handmade. And not only from a business sense, and I feel very confident in the world of business, but also as a tech leader, and also just being able to reach all of you as well. And the thing about it though is that even though I had that super wobbly day, I was able to pull myself out of the hole because I've got all of these tips and tricks and tools that I use when it comes to confidence. And there's even a bit of a spin on the whole idea of confidence that I'm going to share with you as well, which I think might be really helpful. Oh, just a shout out as well. I don't know if you can see these because I got this on cinematic, but these beauties are by Lenua Crafts, Brona, and these are actually hand carved spirals. And I had a session today with her, but we went into these earrings, and Brona, I have to say, I absolutely actually love them. I think they look beautiful, on point with the outfit today as well. Um, but so when it comes to confidence, right? And I heard this is a friend of mine who shared this. And when you look at the etymology of confidence, like where the word came from, and I can't give you the exact etymology, I'll look it up and I'll write it down here below. But confidence means that it's something that you've already done. So if you said to me, "Hey, can you make a dress?" 100%. I have absolute confidence in that area because I have made so many. I have pad made so many. I've cut them. I've sewn them. I've done the whole bit. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I'm 100% confident in that area. Now, the bit that wobbled me the other day is that, and what you may not know about Madeit is that we are a tech platform. We're a monthly, like it's a membership model. So we're a full SaaS model is the term that's used. And we're working with really complex code all of the time. And would I say that I am 100% confident in that area? I would say my confidence is growing. And the reason is because I haven't done this before. Yes, I've owned a really big e-commerce platform and it's had massive success, but tech is different. And so therefore, I have to pull on something else other than confidence. And to be honest, the word that I'm going to use here, and whether or not you're religious or what your views are on this, but it's faith. And, I'm not personally religious, but for me, it's faith in myself and it's faith in the belief of the universe. And it's faith that I'll have the skills and the ability to work out exactly what I do need to work out, but also that I have faith in the ability to be able to connect with the right people to make it happen. So, one thing that's really interesting that I would just start off this conversation with for you is to really ask yourself, like, if you're not feeling confident as an artisan, can you break it down a little bit more? Like, and what I'm saying by that is that if you were to get really specific about where specifically you didn't feel confident, where would it be? I wonder if I should just move. I'm going to move this camera back a little bit and let's see if I can get a better shot in. Okay, there we go. I think we've got a bit of a better view there so that I can show you what I'm working on as well at the same time. For those that are interested, let me put this down a little bit. There we go. But yeah, so if you were going to be really specific about where you feel like you're lacking confidence as an artisan, where would it be? Would it be in the creations of your products? Would it be in how you talk to people about your products? Or would it be selling online? Now, all of these things are very different areas. And what often happens when we're talking about, lacking that confidence is that we tend to start stacking in all different areas. And all of a sudden we feel like that we're not confident at all. And that's not actually the case. The case is that there will be one particular area in which you're not confident. And then it gets all kind of pushed together to go, hey, I'm not confident in all areas as an artisan. And I'll just try and put that up just a little bit. And the reason that we want to be really careful with that is because it's probably not true, right? There will be parts of your business that you are confident in. And we don't want to get into that trap of thinking that it's all areas because then all of a sudden we're feeling like we're in a dire spot as well. So, same with me the other day when I was having that moment of, not feeling good enough. I knew straight away to start dissecting it and go, hold on a second. It's not in all areas. Like it is in a very particular area that I'm not feeling confident. But what I also noticed when I started to pull apart is that something that was sitting inside it was a feeling of not feeling good enough in comparison to others. And that's a really slippery slope to go down because the people that I was thinking about that I was like, oh, am I like, how's my growth in the business? What's happening? Because I've come from that world of leadership and business and all that aspect. It's all ego filled. But also, I don't know what's going on in their lives. So, why am I, for an instance, thinking that me comparing my journey to someone else's is of any value or even any relevance at all? So, I think this is a really good time for you to be able to break down and go, okay, if I'm just going to sit in this for a while and go, I'm not feeling confident as an artisan, then how specifically are you not feeling confident as an artisan? And in what areas specifically are you not feeling confident? So, what I'm doing here in the process with this dress, where I know it looks like I'm probably doing nothing, but the pattern that I've got, one of the things that I do, which I don't know whether you do this, but I free cut a lot, where it means that it's not perfectly measured, it's not exactly off of pattern. There may have been many versions that I've made. So I just like to check back in and make sure that I'm measuring off the same garment. And now, when it comes to using natural fibers, I always wash first because they do shrink a little bit. So I pre-wash everything as if it was a normal garment so that then when I'm measuring a garment that has been washed and it is, I've worn it as well, like I've worn this to death, at least I'm comparing it like for like as well around what I'm actually going to create. So I just draw like a little sketch like that, very simple. And then I just start marking in the actual measurements as I go. So when we're talking about, getting really clear about in which area that you may be feeling like a lack of confidence, the idea is that we want to avoid stacking. And what happens when you stack, right? If you imagine, it's literally like pages being stacked. Like if you imagine all of those pages like that being stacked, it's kind of like one thing happens and then you put the next thing on top and then the next thing on top and the next thing on top. And all of a sudden you're feeling so heavy with weight around your confidence. But actually, when we start peeling off the layers, those bits were just added on. It's like, when you're in one of those moods and someone's talking to you and you're like, oh, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And when we start to get stacking happening, that's when we tend to get further and further and further and further away from that bottom piece of paper that was actually quite manageable, right? And so that's why we want to avoid that stacking that may be happening. It's easy to see the worst in the situation. And funnily enough, if you sit down and you try and actually think about all the good things and all the bad things, for some strange human anomaly, it is often easier for us to come up with the worst bits rather than the best bits. And, the same can happen with confidence as well, where it's like you start thinking about all the worst case scenarios. But what I would say, let's use an example, right? Let's say that you may not be confident about the quality of your pieces. Is that true? I think I just actually heard you, a little voice might have said, that's not true, my pieces are beautiful. If you heard even a murmur of that, that's an opportunity for you to dig in and go, ooh, where did that come from? Because if you're in a position where you go, no, actually my pieces are beautiful, well, where did that come from? Where's the proof? And I'm not saying this to say it's not true. I'm saying it to say we want to bring the proof to the surface. So if we're talking about the fact that, let's say you might have had a customer who has sent you a message or written a review, or perhaps it's even a friend or family member, and it's like, your work is amazing. You know that Maya Angelou post when it's like when someone, it's different context, but I think it still works here. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Well, I want to say it's the same. When someone gives you great feedback, believe them and go, hold on a second, I've just collected proof. Because when we're in the space of going, hey, I'm not feeling confident about X, we need to first of all check in. Is this something that you've done before? If this is not something that you've done before, then you're not going to be able to draw on that confidence until you start doing it on a consistent basis. So I know yesterday when I was doing a live about going live on Instagram, and Jen was saying, I'm not feeling ready to do a live yet. The reality is that the only way that you get ready to do a live or you get better at doing a live is by doing the thing. So by doing the live, right? And so the same thing actually goes for when we're talking about confidence. You can't gain confidence in anything until you've actually done it. If it's the fact that you're not feeling confident about an environment before you've done it, well, that makes perfect sense. Like I said, if you said to me, hey, can you make 10 different dress designs over the next week and, want to have them in all these different sort of styles or categories or whatever, I'd be like, no problem. That's amazing. I can absolutely deliver that with confidence. If you said to me, make 10 dresses and we're going to show them in Fashion Week in Paris next week, I would be absolutely stressing myself like crazy because I've never done that. And therefore, I don't have the confidence in that situation, not in the dresses, but in that particular environment where I can actually lean on that confidence. It means in that moment, I need to take proof that I've got about my skills and abilities and combine them with my faith and my belief in myself and bring it forward to be able to do the thing. So does it mean that I would say no to showing in Paris Fashion Week? Of course not. I would say absolutely yes. Would I be absolutely stressing about it and feeling super unconfident? Absolutely. But I also know that when it comes to this world of gaining confidence, you have to do the thing. And the more that you do the thing, the more that you gain the confidence. I have to be honest, this whole idea of me being able to talk and actually create at the same time, I'm not sure it's even possible, but we'll keep going, right? We'll see what happens. I'm just going to cut it because that's much more my style. But when we're talking about this confidence factor as well, and I just want to use the example of doing a live as well, because I think that one of the things that I often use when I'm unsure about something and I want to know whether or not it's the right thing, I think about what's the worst thing that could happen in this situation. And often the worst thing that could happen is usually pretty minor and it's not a big deal at all. And often I would say that the worst thing that can happen is that we feel like we're being judged by someone else. Now, again, if you're worried about being judged by someone that you don't know, someone who's possibly on the other end of social media judging you, it doesn't matter. A really good friend of mine, she gave me some great advice when I first started my label. And because I was unsure, I was lacking confidence, right? Because I hadn't done it before. And she's like, the one thing you want to make sure is that you don't take feedback or advice from someone that A, doesn't have the background to be able to actually give it to you, but also B, who's not your customer. And that was such a game changer for me because, you know, I did have a particular sort of style of dresses that I was doing. And it wasn't for everyone, of course. No one's product is ever going to be for everyone. And so in that instance, I realized, well, why am I taking feedback or thoughts from particular people? And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm just saying in general, you know, when you're starting out, you're kind of desperate to listen to everyone about what's the product like and, you know, you're feeling that lacking confidence about your product. So you're desperately asking others for their opinion about what they think. And the reality is A, their feedback may not even be really helpful, but B, why are you asking? And if you're asking for validation, then my advice there would be to make sure that you're getting validation in the right places and from the right people. You know, one of the biggest things that, you know, we've created with Madeit and that I've been really insistent on us having is building that community aspect. Because when we build a community of like minds and artisans, it means that it's not just you on this journey. It means you've got this whole collective of people that are really on the mission with you and are there to support and give you positive feedback as well and constructive feedback. So that's just something to keep in mind as well, that if you're waiting to get validation from someone that you may never get validation from, you've got to let that go. Don't let that be the reason that you're not gaining confidence. If you don't already have that proof, well, then the question is, how could you create that proof, right? And when I was talking to you about the whole idea of neuro-linguistic programming, it's about essentially what you can do with language and also with behavior to create new beliefs is essentially like that's a pretty raw version of what it is. But one of the things that you can use is that if you need proof about your product being great and you don't already have it, now I'm going to take a hazard a guess here. If you have started a business with your handmade creations, you will have absolutely received positive feedback or positive results at some point in your time creating your product that put you in that position where you're like, I'm going to turn it into a business. So even if the proof that you've got is not right now, dig back into your memory bank and go, where did it start? What is the proof that I've got in there stored that I can bring forward so that I can go, okay, cool, I've got the proof. You know, when we were talking before about what's the worst thing that can happen, you know, the other thing with this is that what am I losing by not doing this thing? Now, whether or not it's lives or whether it's just even putting yourself out there. But if you're not putting yourself out there as an artisan, then what are you losing? Well, I would say, or I would hazard a guess to say that you're losing the opportunity to actually make a creative income full time, or even a creative income part time, or even to follow your dreams of being able to create on a daily basis and earn money from it. That's what you're losing out from. So when you think about what's the worst thing that could happen, and then what am I possibly going to lose? Well, I don't know about you, but if I had to pick between being worried about what a few people would say online compared to me living in my purpose and my dream and my passion, it's a no-brainer. So of course I'm going to put myself out there and give it a go. So I didn't cut out a dress. I didn't cut out anything. I'm not even sure I could actually pull this together and create while making a video. Have you done this before? Because I think it may be an impossibility. I think I might have to record this and then actually just make a dress and we can slice it up and cut it up and do it over the top. But anyway, what do you think about your confidence? Has this given you any insights? Like, have you had any aha moments which have perhaps shifted your idea about what confidence as an artisan is, and about perhaps where you need to lean on that self belief in order to get you through to those next stages? And what is one thing that you can do this week to get you closer to your creative goals? Share it in the comments. I would love to hear what's happening for you. And you'll see me here again next week.